The Simpsons is one of the most popular shows in the world and holds the honor of being the longest running American scripted primetime television series in history. The show is known all over the world, with many countries having their own localizations and dubs to match their languages. The same is true for Japan, which up until 2008 had its own dubbed version and following 2008 its own subtitled version.
あ、マジ。一吹きすれば気分はメキシカン。聞くたまらん。
The vocal talent includes Toru Ohira, who plays Homer Simpson and is also well known for being the voice of Darth Vader in the Star Wars home video releases. And in case you were wondering how Homer says "do" in Japanese, here it is.
Do!
The Japanese translations are generally kept very accurate to the originals. One particularly interesting point to take a look at though is how the localization handles the show's representation of Japan, and also the occasional times that the English version uses the Japanese language itself. A good example of this is episode 175, In March We Trust, and it's Mr. Sparkle's side story. In this episode, Homer finds a detergent box from Japan with what appears to be his face on it. This sends him into a confused panic and he ends up ringing the detergent manufacturer in Japan for an explanation. Now, as mentioned, generally the translations will be kept pretty accurate, but during this phone call to Japan, we can find a small change made to the Japanese version of the show. In the English version, the employee who picks up the phone passes the phone over to another worker and says that he speaks English, presumably due to the language barrier.
This is Homer Simpson from America. Who may I say is speaking to me?
英語が話そうとれ。Hello, Chief. Let's talk. Why not?
The Japanese version interestingly changed this to not Homer speaking English, but being American. They also didn't change the subtitles at all on the bottom of the screen.
アメリカのホーマー・シンプソンってもんだけど、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんだ。
アメリカの方からです。はい、変わりました。何でしょう。
Following the phone call, Homer gets sent a videotape from the company in the mail. This videotape is some sort of promotional video for Mr. Sparkle, and it's extremely over the top, and in the English version it's dubbed in pretty bad Japanese. The pronunciations are off, and it's also been wrote in a way to make it sound as wild as possible.
Mr. Sparkle! Uno yo besto! Wahoo!
This would likely rub the Japanese audience the wrong way, and so the Japanese version has a new dub to make it sound much more natural, although keeping a similar sort of meaning. The show's depiction of Japan has also seen an episode completely pulled in the country due to fear over causing offense. The episode in question is episode 226, 30 Minutes Over Tokyo, which sees the family visit Japan and getting into all sorts of crazy adventures. The scene that caused the episode to be pulled shows Homer pick up the Emperor of Japan and throwing him across the room into a box full of sumo thongs. Due to this, the episode has not only never been aired in Japan, but it's also completely skipped in the DVD releases too. There is one other episode that's not available in Japan, and this is episode 236, Little Big Mom. In the episode, Lisa pulls a prank on Homer and Bart whilst they're asleep, painting them with green paint and making them believe they have leprosy. Due to Japanese cultural issues regarding leprosy, this episode has never aired and is also skipped in the DVD releases. According to Shari Ross Alterek, who wrote her doctoral dissertation on the adaptation of US television in foreign markets, the episode was pulled due to former segregation laws remaining a sensitive topic in Japan, where litigation of leprosy cases and charges of human rights abuses by the Japanese government have ensued. Despite all of the effort given to the Japanese version though, the show has never achieved much success in the region, and this is something that drives some of the Simpsons team crazy. Mike Reese, who's been a writer for the show ever since the first series, spoke about this in a 2017 interview with Variety.com. In the interview, he was asked if there's anywhere in the world where the Simpsons hasn't caught on, and he replied, "There is a funny aspect to the Simpsons in that they have a liberal stance and an anarchic stance, but they also want world domination. It drives some people at the Simpsons crazy that the Japanese don't watch our show. We cannot get them interested. Japan is the biggest market in the world that we haven't conquered. I think, why do you care? We're not Alexander the Great, we're just a cartoon show." So what Western shows do the Japanese public like then? Well, in a 2016 survey, 10,000 readers voted on their favourites, with 50 options to choose from, and The Simpsons wasn't even considered to be listed as an option. As for the top 5 spots, we have Happy Tree Friends at number 5, SpongeBob at number 4, Transformers at number 3, Powerpuff Girls at number 2, and Tom and Jerry at the top spot. During the early 2000s, the Simpsons were actually most well known for their sponsorship of the Japanese fizzy soft drink CC Lemon. CC Lemon is a lemonade-like drink which contains real lemon juice and boasts to contain 35 lemons worth of vitamin C. During the show's sponsorship, you could find the yellow skin cast on various commercials, merchandise, and advertised in streets on things like buses. And all of this was to promote the drink, not the show. In fact, during the early 2000s, the show was said to be most well known for the drink and not the show itself. CC Lemon is also in the top 5 most popular soft drinks sold in Japan. Another notable sponsor is Mr. Donut, a donut fast food franchise with more than 1,300 stores in Japan. In 2007, the brands collaborated together in a series of commercials for the Simpsons movie, and this signified a big marketing push that the studio made for the movie's Japanese success. Alongside the sponsorship, the Simpsons movie saw the studio recast all of the Japanese voice actors for a more famous cast. This was an attempt at rebranding the show and trying to make it more popular. However, this decision proved to be very controversial. Whilst the show isn't very popular in the country, the niche audience it does have could be seen as very hardcore, and fans did not respond well to the actors being recast. Fans grouped together and started a blog with a campaign titled "Give Us Back the Original Dubbing Artists." The site was updated daily for months with information about the situation and various forms of protest and activism, trying to get the studio to change their mind. Unfortunately for fans, the movie went ahead with using the new actors, but they did manage to convince the studio to create a brand new dub using the original actors for the DVD release. The original actors also expressed a large amount of gratitude seeing how devoted their fans were. Following the movie's launch in 2007 though, things then started to take a different direction, which continues up until the present day. Season 15 in 2008 was only broadcast in Japan with subtitles, and there was no dubbed version. Since then, no dubbed version has been broadcast, meaning it's been without a dub for 10 years now. Furthermore, during this period of absence, several notable members of the Japanese cast have passed away, including the voice actor for Homer Simpson. The show does continue to be broadcast in the country though, with season 28 currently being broadcast with subtitles on the Japanese channel Fox Sports and Entertainment. The Simpsons are also well known in the West for their appearance in other media, such as the many video games that have released over the years. In Japan, however, not many of these games have been released in the country. There were a few exceptions during the early 90s, such as the Simpsons arcade game, the original Game Boy's Escape from Camp Deadly, as well as the SNES's Bart's Nightmare. The latter two are also notable for giving the characters extra fingers on the Japanese box art. This is due to the publishers being concerned over a stigma that Japan is perceived to have over four-fingered characters, for this possibly resembling the Yakuza's practice of cutting people's fingers off as a form of punishment. Aside from the early 90s though, the Simpsons games haven't been typically released in Japan. The Simpsons Hit and Run was released in Japan, but only for the Xbox and not PS2 or GameCube. Furthermore, this was a special World Collection release that sold at a reduced price, with the exception of the manual is entirely in English. It appears that despite the huge impact that the show has had in most other parts of the world, The Simpsons will continue to remain a fairly niche franchise in Japan for the foreseeable future. And with there no longer being a Japanese dub, its historic lack of popularity in Japan, as well as its continued lack of promotion, it's unlikely that this will be something that will change anytime soon. What are your thoughts on the Japanese version of The Simpsons, and what would you like to see us take a look at next? Let us know in the comments below, and please consider hitting that subscribe button if videos on localization like this are something that you're interested in. Until next time, thank you for watching.